Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Enrique from Novation, and I'm here at zZounds in Chicago showing off the new Summit synthesizer. So in case you're not familiar with Summit, it's derived from Peak. And in case you're not familiar with Peak, the main brain behind Peak and Summit was the ability to have a lot of flexibility on the front end. So we got linear FM, a ton of wavetables, plus all the traditional analog wave shapes, but ran off of an FPGA. So yes, it's a digital oscillator, but unlike most digital oscillators, which are at 44 to 96 kilohertz, these are running at 24 megahertz. So you will never hear any aliasing whatsoever. After that, goes into an analog mixer, analog VCA, analog filter, 3 analog overdrives, and then that's ran in parallel with the effects so you don't lose the warmth. We're not going to just take warm analog and just cram it into a DSP chip. So you actually have independent dry and wet levels for the effects as well as the synth signal, and the ran out of the end together summed up really nice, so you get a really rich full sound plus a really good usable effects. One of the most requested features that we had on Peak was audio inputs, because people wanted to run their own sounds through the analog filter, the 3 analog overdrives, and the really good usable effects on Peak. So we've definitely heard that, and we added audio inputs onto Summit. But we've taken that a step further and also added an aux output. So not only do you have a left and right input, you also have a stereo left and right main output and a left and right auxiliary output. The benefit here is you can actually set up whether the effects go there or separate parts, so you can have 2 discrete channels coming out of Summit and be affecting something and then have that going out on its own thing and then having a synth come out on the other side. Another super requested feature on Peak was multi-timbrality. So we've taken that and doubled the voices inside Summit to 16 and allowed it to play 2 patches at a time, bi-timbral. What's cool here is when you jump into multi-mode, you have 3 different ways to play multi. You have layer, which will layer 2 separate patches at the same time, split, which you can easily split the keyboard, and a great shortcut here is if you hold down split, you can actually select where you want the split to happen, quick and easy. And you also have dual mode, and dual mode will basically create your Summit into an 8-voice Summit. And whatever part you currently have selected, that will be controlling that part only. So it's a great and easy way to build 2 separate patches on their own, and then you can hit layer and play them together. Another one of my favorite features on Summit is the dual analog filter. Quick little heritage, Chris Huggett, who does a lot of our synth design, he did the Oscar, he did the Wasp. We like to use a lot of the Wasp filters architecture on a lot of our synths. So we've done that here, but something unique about it was in order to get the 24 dB slope, it's 2 12 filters stacked. So for Summit, we've uncoupled them and allowed you to run them in 9 different configurations, whether it be in parallel or in serial, and control the filter separation points between the 2. You're even able to modulate that as well as modulating the filter cutoff. So it really adds for a lot of cool, vocally unique SEM style sounds. So looking at Summit, one of the first things you'll notice is all the dedicated knob per function you have on the face of the unit. While Peak did have a lot, there are some added knobs and stuff on here that you will not find on Peak. For example, one of my favorites is the dedicated FM section. What's really cool about this is, sure, you can do FM on Peak, but on Summit, you have the dedicated knobs, which means it doesn't take up slots in the 16-slot mod matrix. And what's even better is that this switch will actually activate 3 different sources to the same destination. You're not choosing one or the other. You can actually apply all 3 to the same destination using 1 knob. On top of that, we also have the dedicated loop buttons for all the envelopes, the amp and the 2 mod envelopes. And you also have access to LFO 3 and 4 on the face of the unit, which is only accessible through the menus on Peak. And let's not forget some added function over in the voicing section. Instead of going through the menus on Peak as you would, you have a dedicated area to change the voice mode, whether you want to do mono, mono 2, poly, and we also have a dedicated rhythm knob in the arpeggiator section as well as a tempo knob. So a lot of this kind of gives you a lot more hands-on feel without having to look at the menu, and you're really just diving in and creating your own unique sound. So if you're the type of person that's looking for a really flexible centerpiece to a studio that you can, do a really fat analog unison 16, 18 voice type of sound, or you want some super lush pads that kind of play themselves, you hit a couple keys and just let the effects run on forever, Summit or Peak would be a great option for you. Specifically the Summit I like because having the keys really changes the way you interact with your synthesizer, allowing you to really sculpt, change sounds, use aftertouch and velocity right here just attached to the unit. It's a great way to just make music and make sounds. So thanks for hanging. For more information on Summit or anything in the Novation line, check out zZounds.com.